Now, in sport generally, mental welfare is just as, if not more important than, the physical welfare of an athlete. Horse racing is one such example where jockeys themselves have perhaps been neglected until fairly recently. At Meydan, the 8th International Conference for the Health, Safety and Welfare of Jockeys started today, with delegates from more than 14 countries in attendance. And here with me now to explain more is Dr. Adrian McGoldrick, a senior pioneer on the topic. Dr. Adrian McGoldrick, thank you so much for coming in tonight. Let's start with the theory behind the conference. How do you get to this stage now, and what is everybody talking about?
We had our first conference in Tokyo 13 years ago. We had done a small amount of research in Ireland looking at dehydration in riders, and then we began to speak with our colleagues internationally, and we felt that we should expand the conference. And so we've now at the stage where we're here for our 8th conference in the beautiful Meydan, courtesy of Mali Al-Basti, who has actually been very kind to us. He sponsored our last meeting as well and has taken very good care of us here, I say, in Meydan. So we have actually, as you say, we've over 60 delegates from 16 racing authorities. We're looking at all aspects of jockey welfare and jockey health. That's why we're here. Our jockeys are our gold. They're our gods in every way. So the areas we're looking at, obviously, it would be mental health, very, very important, which I'll come back to. We're looking at bone health, obviously, the physical demands of racing, concussion, the general rules relating to racing, medical service at race courses. But as you mentioned at the start, mental health is an issue which has come to the fore in the last 4 to 5 years. I suppose it started partly in Ireland. We had a young jockey called Mark Enright who was very seriously depressed, and I was asked to see him. And after we had him treated, took care of him, he was very happy to go to the media and open up about it. And it really opened a can of worms within racing. So following that, we carried out a survey in Ireland and found that our riders had twice the normal rate of depressive symptoms as the age-related population. So as a result of that, we now have a research fellow spending 4 years doing a PhD project on it. And from that, we hope we'll have outcomes to help our jockeys. We do know that racing is a very stressful industry. They work long hours. A small minority make it. They're making weight. I mean, our riders are riding 2 stone below their natural weight. So there are a lot of factors, but we don't know all the factors behind them. That's why we're doing this research, not just in Ireland, it's internationally, and that's why we have this conference here, to speak to each other, to get ideas from each other as to where we should go, and design further projects into the future. As I say, there was no research done on jockeys up until 20 years ago, so it's a very early science of racing.
And I guess people look at horse racing and they say, well, he's on his own, or she is on their own on the horse, so it's the problem that they have to deal with themselves. But it's not at all. You've got the trainers, you've got the team around them. Everybody needs to be on the same page as this, and that can be difficult, can't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I have always said that if you've got a happy, healthy jockey riding a horse, then everybody wins. So you get the owner, the trainer, the punter, and the jockey wins. Where if you've got a dehydrated, depressed, underweight jockey riding a horse, then everybody loses. So my aim is to try and get our jockeys healthy, both physically and mentally. We're certainly have been working for many years on the physical end, obviously looking at getting weight structures up, putting good nutrition on track. We now have a sports psychologist involved in Ireland, and I know they have in the UK as well. So that we're now looking in the mental health, but we have a lot to do in the mental health end of it, being very honest.
Obviously, and the conference at Meydan, you're dealing specifically with horse jockeys and the teams around them. But surely other methods from other sports, it must quite be similar, must be able to apply things here and there.
Absolutely. I mean, and as we have looked at our research in mental health within racing, we've realised that all of the sports we've seen within rugby in particular, soccer, in the last couple of years, you're seeing a lot of retired rugby players and soccer players admitting that they actually have significant depression. So it's not just in racing. I mean, obviously we looked at our own sport initially and we were quite shocked when we saw the level of mental health problems we had. But we now know that it's right across all sports. So that we've a lot of work to do.
Well, I really appreciate you coming in tonight, and it's a fantastic idea. I hope the conference goes well and it continues. A lot of people involved, and we really appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Mr. Al-Basti for taking care of us.
No problem.
Thank you.